Today's lesson's 5.6, Systems of Inequalities. Yesterday we dealt with problems like this, where when we graphed, the first thing I needed to do was rearrange. So you move the 2x over, so I have negative y greater than or equal to negative 2x minus 3. Can't have a negative y, so I change the sign of everything. Y less than or equal to 2x plus 3. We started up 3, then we went up 2 to the right 1 for the slope, rise over run. Because it's less than or equal to, I use a solid line. It is less than, so I shade below. This is what we've worked on for the past couple days. Here's the types of problems we're going to be looking at currently. Now we have systems of inequalities. We graph these a little bit differently. Still at first, we need to make sure that they're rearranged in the slope-intercept form. For this first one here, where do I start? Start at negative 1, so I start down 1. My slope's negative 1/2, so I go down 1 over 2. What type of line do I have? Solid line. So just like before, nothing has changed. Now, this is the one piece that we do a little bit differently. Where's my shading go? Less than, so it's below it. Instead of going crazy and shading everything under here, I'm just going to do this. This tells me that everything is going to be shaded below it. Now I'm going to look at this one. Where do we start at? Start up 3. 1, 2, 3. What's my slope on this one? It's 1, which means 1 over 1. So I go up 1 to the right 1. What type of line do I have here? Dotted. Where does this shading go? Does it go above this line or below this line? Why above? Because it's greater than. So I'm just going to go and put arrows above. Now what you look at is, where do the two share? If I had to think of a region, I have this piece right here, this piece over here, this piece over here, and this piece here. If you look, I'm going down here and up here. The part where they share is that region there. That's where they overlap. What that means, if I pick any point in here, it will work for both solutions. I know this point right here is negative 10, 0. If I substitute this in, 0 is less than or equal to negative 1/2 times negative 10 minus 1. Negative 1/2 times negative 10 is positive 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. Is 0 less than 4? Yes. Substitute in the other one. 0 greater than negative 10 plus 3. Negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7. Is 0 greater than negative 7? Yes. Those ones work. If I pick something outside of it, like 0, 0. If I made it 0, 0, I can look in the calculator at this. If I plotted both these, negative 1/2 x minus 1. This one is less than, so I'm going to go over to the left. Instead of a solid line, if I press enter, it does a thicker line. If I press enter again, it shades it above. If I press enter again, it shades it below. The second one needs to be shaded above, so keep hitting enter until you shade above. It also does little keyholes where it'll trace it, circles, or a dotted line. X plus 3. When I graph it, there's the first one. There's the second one. By looking at this, you can tell where they overlap. It's where there's the little grid. For this problem, for the first one, where do I start? Start up 7. Now what do I do? Down 4, to the right 1. What type of line? Dotted line. Where does my shading go? On the bottom. You want to do a scribble? Do you like that? That's fine too. Where's the next one? Where do I start at? Start down 6. -2 means down 2 to the right 1. I could go up 2 to the left 1. It's the same exact thing. What's my dot or solid? Where's my shading go? Above. Where do they share? Right in between. Don't think that they have to intersect. It just means they are bounded by these two. They will intersect, but it's down here. But don't think just because you don't see an intersection that it has to be. If I had two parallel lines, you can share in between. It has to be in between. For this problem, I have x equals -2y is less than 8. X plus y is greater than or equal to 5. First thing I'm going to do is move the x over. -2y less than -x plus 8. Divide everything there by -2. So I have y is greater than 1/2 x minus 4. Everything has to be divided by -2. On the second one, I have to move the x over. Y is greater than or equal to -x plus 5. Why didn't the symbol flip on this one, but it did on the other one? The first one I divided by negative, the second one I didn't. Now that I have them both rearranged, for the one in blue, where do I start? Down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what? Up 1 to the right 2. What type of line? Dotted. Shading goes above to the top or whatever you just put together. For the one in red, where do I start? Up 5. I think this is 5 right here. Down 1 to the right 1. My line is solid. My shading goes above it or below it? Above. The part where I share is this region up here. Now, the one part people make mistakes on, this XY axis is not a boundary line. It does not stop the shading. Because I see a lot of people do this. and not shade down here. This is just an axis. This stops. This line is what stops the shading. This one stops the shading. The X and Y do not have nothing to do with it. Questions on this section?